Chill here with Sirius Stylus Moon, and the moon is 29 degrees Aquarius, ruled by the Saturn that is 27 degrees Pisces, Jupiter 22 degrees Cancer. Let me put it that way. Mercury hour, Mars night. Mars is 7 degrees Scorpio, and Mercury is separating from the conjoining to Spica, ruled by Venus that is separating from conjoining Ketu, and the ascendant and midheaven ruled by that Mercury. So there was let me first upload a video, because there definitely is something. Smug people are going to have their downfall time. We saw it with not only the Epstein was exposed in 2008, but the cloning, okay, the real estate, the peterings, the funneling of wealth, the attempt of even the Bolshevik revolution to gain money by trafficking. Those things. Okay, what was the previous thing about preparation to understand Neptune, Saturn conjunction? Now here is I want to address something, because somebody is definitely being sexually obsessed with somebody. And here's this thing about Mars. Mars rules real estate, Mars rules blood and bloodline, Mars rules iron, Mars rules sex, genitals, particularly the penis. Somebody has been obsessed about somebody. And it's something that I got a while ago. And they have been really. They can be a person that has a person. They can be a person that has somebody. And the thing is that person, their sexuality, okay, there's something about the compatibility with the sexuality of the person they're sexually obsessed about is not quite there. There can be attraction. There can be mutual attraction. But the sexual compatibility is not quite there. It can be that one is more kinky and one is less kinky, or something along that sort. Now, there's a genuine desire to somehow try to make that fit from the person that is sexually obsessed. The other person may have completely even given up on sex. And this is why it is such a challenging thing, because there is somebody that is smug and being used as an intermediary to try to get that person who has given up on, I don't know, fitting sexually with others, or is like kind of like kind of like tending to their lives, knowing that sexuality is an importance, but given up on trying to fit, given up on trying to find a partner, and for some of you, maybe even giving up on life. And so that person who is sexually obsessed, they may not be they may be more in lust than in love, but they're also, it's a mixture, because they have this obsession for that person. And now here's the shadow work thingy. That person that has a sexual obsession is, for most of you, either not available, downright married, or maybe genuinely about to divorce, but not inherently sexually compatible with the other person. I want to stress that, okay? Because the two people there at the two poles, they might even be doing the same things. It can even be a Mars conjoined Mars type of thing. And Mars conjunction Mars, they're they can be thinking the same, they can be on path lines, their strategies might sometimes at times be compatible. But here's the thing between, how should I say that? With the Mars in Scorpio, both of them will tend to get to the core, to the core of the Corvinaut core, okay, to try to transform something. And with Scorpio, Scorpio wants to get to the core of an issue. One of these partners, okay, one of these partners has completely given up on certain things because they've been like so surrounded with dumbfuckery. One of these partners is a part of that dumbfuckery. And they're trying to use an intermediary. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Up until when it comes to, I'm sorry, penis, okay, something could even work. There could even be like an attraction. But something about when it gets to penis identity, path in life, okay, all the things that basically Mars rules, even real estate identity and so on, there is a smugness in the intermediary, and it might, whether that smugness is in the sexually obsessed person, that might not even be available. And they have a side to them. It's kind of like the angel and the devil sitting on the shoulders, and they're committed to the angel and they're committed to the devil. And maybe they even try to see what does that other person represent in their life. Is it the angel? Is it the devil? What is going on here? Is it a person that's just not completely sexually compatible, albeit attraction, and the fact that they're not going to go with the person who's not available, and the fact that their path in life is, and perhaps one of the reasons they kind of feel frustrated or given up on having a partner or even a sexual partner, is because they're not in it with the many things that having the type of partner they're attracted to entails. Not because that type of person is a bad person or anything like that. It's just like to be that person now entails to change the core of the core of the core of anything Mars, that is banking, currency, real estate, without giving up on one's passions. And they're just like, hey, they're tending to try to do it the best they can by themselves. Now, here's what the other party knows. They know that that person needs a partner. They know that that person needs housing. They know that that person is sexual. And they try to, and there's an intermediary that is trying to funnel wealth, that is doing something with monetary system, but they're doing that in a cult that is Nazi, enslaving women, and trying to put everyone in sex work, even if they're married. And that third party is so smug. That third party is so smug. And some of those people from the cult will have like almost a personality in that other person's situation. Now, that other person is entangled to the core. And they've been trying to project, they have been both right about certain things. Because you think about the people that are doing both the good things and the bad things. Okay? It's not enough sexually for the person that is going to all the way from the core. Now, here is the thing. Those cults are that cults are genuinely scary. Like what they're dealing with is genuine. Like if they would try to, I don't know, drop the Peter rings, that would probably mean that they have themselves a movie of doing something like it, or somebody clients it, and that's a big deal. But once the person that was, and it feels to me like the encounter between these two had to do surrounding the fact that one of them is going to be on the drop the petering side, and the other one is really too busy in trying to make them drop their panties when they only are really in it, into that, before, during, and after, when when the condition that they state happen. Now the smug person, for them it means losing their entire financial endeavor that maybe their life depends on. That person who is sexually obsessed, that might not mean that for them. And here's the thing: there is not a mutual, there is a juxtaposition sometimes of being a lover and being a hater towards that person who's completely like given up on everything. And that person that is sexually obsessed, they see, like they have an authentic part where they see that that person has given up on things that, how do I say that, they know that somebody is going to be smart enough to see what they see and strategize so that they get that person to get to go where they're going successfully, and that person is going to get that person. They know. You know, you think about a person who has been, I don't know, frustrated, um, yeah, I don't know, forgetting to take the hair from their brows sometimes, like type of, but somebody sees that that person is onto something. That person is onto something. They're going somewhere, and they know that if they don't try to get that person, somebody will. If they don't try to be with that person, somebody will. They're gonna lose that person, whether to singlehood or not. But that person, however, however unattractive their underneath and nail looks sometimes, it's because they're digging up a half moon. It's because they're doing something in the soil. It's because they're going somewhere. Now that can prompt both feelings of being a hater or wanting to be in that, like wanting to be free in that particular way, or and in the feeling of reckoning. And when what happens when we have something that something of that sort? It's called, in non-monogamy, it's called erotic challenge. There's an erotic challenge. Now the erotic challenge can be comprising of one of several things. Very likely the person who's sexually obsessed is not even single. But the other one might be. And it can be a composition of the eternally married versus the eternally single. And it might not even mean that they're destined to be together. But there is the thing that this juxtaposition, even though the person that, and it can even be a situation where that person who is married or not single or whatnot have been juxtaposed to that person who is trying to change the system for quite some time, until that person is so busy about changing the career and the system and whatnot and whatever prevent them from being a happy person, hasn't been paying attention to quite the effect they had on that other person, that they were waiting to see, are they going to do something? Are they going to contribute something? Like, what's going to happen? And the what's going to happen from that person who kind of gave up on partner, gave up on sexuality, was about, are they going to change the world? And from the other side, there's something that has learned a tactic of trying to create a trauma bond with people that they are attracted to. It can also be that something is being lit here in a way that that's unusual, and that can be a Uranus transit, that can be a Saturn return, Saturn maturation kind of thing. What are people at 35 now? It's 2025. Those would be people born in 89. Okay. And it can even be that single person that heads in the clouds, actions in the exposing their true list, not even paying attention to either person, has been there even through the Saturn return. Like, it has been something that has been going on for a while. Now, for some of you, it's months. For some of you, it's years. And the person that's kind of like giving up on the things is kind of like, they're staying single. They're not dating anybody. They're not married. They don't have pictures with their spouse on Instagram. They're staying single. They're staying disturbing the system. And that's fucking attractive. Now, that person who is, and here's the thing, it can also be a situation where those two people meet, then something is going to, either a person is going to get, the person is sexually obsessed is going to get, how should I say that, like a little smug boy. And this is where the intermediary get at that, because there's an intermediary who's doing something with finances that latches on to that wound of the sexually obsessed person, that is a wound around smugness. But with that wound around smugness, there is that scorpionic part, which is trying to get to the core of something, to be completely transmuted. Now, the person that is the eternal single in here, and for most of you, it can be that it's just about it. It's not that the person is in another relationship. It's not even that the person is in a relationship that's outdated to what they're doing. No, they're past that. They are obnoxiously single. And it can be a person who is single and almost 30. It's like, the Mormon ladies, where are, with the babies? Where you gonna get pregnant? Where you gonna settle down? Or they even older. And a person is eternally single. Do they have an ex? There's a lot of people that say a lot of stuff. With the money line, none of that. Is that person asexual? Not really. They talk about sexual sovereignty all the time. It's not a conversation of an asexual person. Is that person lesbian? We don't know. They're attracted to men too. If they are, they're probably quite attracted. Is that a gender issue? We don't know. And and you see, there was a phase where there was a cherchez la femme, which was Aries and Psyche. But even those ladies, they try to send their men to do lust magic or whatnot, or to interfere with a single woman's life. Those women either are in repent or in a tantric feminist revolution. But anyway, they had to deal with those men being completely, totally, and utterly obsessed with that psyche. Now that little eternally single psyche person has a pack of rumors around them and a pack of people that have something towards them, men and women. And this is not the energy of like Beyonce, men and women, I stop the world. No, it's a person that's walking with dirt underneath their hands for working in the soil, with sometimes a weird, hair between the eyebrows, some, a Birkenstock, okay? Are they going to be excited about clothes? Well, oh yeah, I have this. Oh, I saw this person that talks about the frequency of organic fabric. Prada, Gucci, something. No, no, no. I'm so thankful I didn't have a Balenciaga. They're raping children. So you're not into style? No, I love style. Actually, my mother was a fashion designer. I just don't have the time. I don't. And what currency? What currency? What currency? What those currencies that they do ritual satanic abuse to issue? We're gonna have to chase that type of money. I mean, I love good living, but it actually has to. My wealth has to wealth. Now here's the thing: that smug person intermediary, all they know of is trafficking people to the right people, extorting information. So if they can get that person that is the apple of the eye of the underwears of the person of the person that is around the elite or whatnot and is sexually obsessed, and if they can get these two and to vacuum information, they could get the person on the assassination list to soften up, and and they will get more information about this eternally single person. And so they try to do all the things that the eternally single person is not attracted to. Lust magic, ritual abuse, trying to create a trauma bond. The last time they tried it, they talked about the children. And we still don't know if the people were involved were gay or not. And trying to get to them in their sleep. And so now, here's the thing, the smug person might also have a sexual obsession here. But the person they're trying to connect, they're trying to get the energy that was having some sort of a rapport, some sort of an attraction, but they were trying to make it fit, in the sex parts. And something there doesn't work because, first of all, there might be a moon nakshatra compatibility or lack of, okay, that can affect sexual compatibility even when there is eroticism. But also, particularly, everything that intermediary tries to link the two to try to get information is ending up with that eternally single person trying to counter that. And what that eternally single person doesn't like is that death cult. Now, here's the thing: the sexually obsessed person, they know that a part of them has been identified. They know that there is at least one part of them that's not really in it with all those death cult. There is another part that can be incredibly traumatized that is. There is another part that's smug. And now the fact that they have been meeting something that sparked their desire or their lust in such a way makes them feel a bit uncomfortable as the person that wants to be in sexual control. And now, here again, what I'm getting at is not an energy that is necessarily sexually malevolent. It's coming from a desire to be in sexual control of a partner. That doesn't work with the other party. And this is, they could run themselves into a consent situation here. Because they violated sexual boundary. That intermediary was causing something that was violating sexual boundaries. They tried to use magic, magnetism, all the Scorpio things. But if the other person is not in willing consent, they're not in willing consent. And that's important. Now, that only, that, how should I say that? That perceived rejection, and why am I saying perceived rejection? Because what I'm getting here is not a rejection in as much as something here that's sexually not compatible, but to get that, both parties are going through a journey of recovery. Except that one person is finding it difficult to come to terms with the fact that their sexual recovery, and they could be going through like a phase of depression, having to take, I don't know, some sort of pills that harm the ability to have an erection, or and it's exactly in those phases where they try, okay, and there's just something, and that something is, now the person who is this ever eternally single, in the back of their mind, they know that that person who's not available, they know that there's something in them that's not in it with all the devil stuff, all this enslavement stuff. They could be erotically attracted to controlling a partner, or but there's just something in them that's not there, and it's only the sexual trauma and sexual programming. Because what I was getting at was an attempt to sexually program the eternally single person, and it's kind of like an attempt to bring a person to a situation that they have spent decades transmuting, because from the beginning that never really worked for them. There was something that they were observant of, looking at it, and then going for the sexual sovereignty from maybe the first time they even celebrated their own sexuality. And the thing is, that thing is visible to the other parties, which is in itself a boundary violation. There is a use of psychologists, and there is a use of third parties, and there is a use of a lot of people that they shouldn't be using to try to, and here's the thing, the the eternally single person knows that the actions of the sexually obsessed person are undermining them, both in their relationship or marriage, and definitely we're trying to get in the vicinity of that eternally single person. They also know that around each person there are many social engineers. And they also they also know that that eternally single person knows something about their essence. And they have walked out, and they're trying to get at the core of what does that single person knows, and they're trying to sexually connect to find out. But the fact that it doesn't sexually connect, and that could be both incompatibility and the fact that it's like somebody's trying to get somebody to to be sexual with them, when it's the way that they try to do that that is drawing that single person away, because they've been like, I've been an open book. I talked about sexual sovereignty. I talked about what bothers me. Like, I've been so honest. Why would people even try that? And this is because of the same reason that these two were juxtaposed to begin with. For one person, it may have been a Saturn transit. For another person, it may have been a Uranus transit. Um, and how should I say that? There is an attempt, and here's the thing, there's a genuine attempt to try to decipher the code. Why is that person single? What do they want for a partner? What would solve their housing issues? What would and everybody around them keep telling them that they could get that person to be a sex worker, that the person is into things that they're not into. Now here's the thing, the party that's looking at the single person is more than likely either going through divorce, or there's a question of divorce or separation, or is completely not single, like married, married, married. And it can be that the erotic challenge that the eternally single was given up, and that means they're not chasing that unavailable person that tries to create trauma bonds and downright narcissistically acting in that sense, okay? They're not trying to chase that person. They're just trying to set boundaries to something that tries to violate or that continually violates their sexual sovereignty. It is setting a boundary to that thing. Now, I want you to think, I want you to think about who are the men that are the most homophobic? Gays. Who are the men that try to insist the most that the Me Too went too far? And the women, because it touches at the women first. Who are the women that try to insist that the Me Too went too far? I know that from home. Before Me Too, my mother would say about women, "Oh, she's this prostitute that tries to go up the ladder." Da, 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 da. Until her daughter took 2 years off of having a mother during the Me Too. Now, here's the thing about this eternally single person. They have withdraw their presence from that sexually obsessed person on the basis of, hey, it looks like they're going a certain direction that I'm not going. Not even around sexuality. And there was also a reckoning that the attraction here is not exactly purely professional, but also that there's something's not compatible. So the person that is used to be single is like, okay, not compatible, not available, not even sharing the values that I need from even, I don't know, then going on professionally, it's not going to end in a situation that would be compatible in terms of the values. And hey, that person is tangled up with some stuff. No shame, no blame. Withdrawing their presence that to begin with wasn't there for. To begin with, it was something professional, simply because that eternally single person is just so fucking eternally single. um, Now, this mutual sense of reckoning has bothered that has bothered the sexually obsessed person, you know what? It was completely invisible. And they have been trying to win the attraction, to win the. They've been trying to win in the place where it's supposed to be a win-win. Okay? And and the part of them that is smug or connected to smugness has been trying to win one over in a place where, sex is not a place where you win one over a person. That would be rape. Because they're seeing the erotic game as the game of winners and losers. And it's not even necessarily that their entire self sees that, but there is a part of them, or a programmed part, that is like that, and they may have been affiliated with certain things to do with that. Now, here's the thing: the eternally single person has been given up on certain things because they've been overwhelmed. They could be even a targeted individual. And from their perspective, they would try to go to sleep and somebody would try to cause them to have an erotic dream, except that they didn't like the erotic dream. And they tried to get that to be about being a sex worker. And they're not into that. And they try to create an ultimatum that if they won't be into that, they won't have a home. Now that person wakes up angry. Okay, who has to die? Who has to die today? Many people have to die today. Everybody has to die today. People will be trying to curse my housing. People will be trying to curse my sanity. People will be trying to program my sexuality. So many people have to die today, and they're like, wait a second. They've been trying to use that energy because the other energy that tried to create the trauma bond, they withdrew their presence away too. Now they're trying to go for that energy, and it's different people. It's that smug person, and that smug person they saw in person. Now they're trying to use that energy. And for them, it's like, but that energy, that, like, isn't that person on an assassination list? And this is where they have to set things, like to set things straight. Now, for many of you, some of you watching this being the smug person, some of you watching this being the not available but sexually obsessed person, there's a psychosexual component to that. Lilith. Ooh! Black Moon Lilith! I, I said what I said. It's on the Chiron of Israel, by the way. Black Moon Lilith is about sexual sovereignty, but also for those, Black Moon Lilith can operate like a Chiron because wherever something is not sexually sovereign, it's gonna know. Now, here's the thing with that person. That sexually obsessed person, how should I say that? It's kind of like there seems there was just something there. There's something there. There's something that you married. There's something there. There's something your entire career. There's something there. Dropping pedo rings. There's something there. There's something there. It's like if you don't get a hold of your little one, however big member, small member, we don't care. It's your bloodline they're gonna expose. There was just something there. I need to be with that person. But what if you're not sexually compatible? There's something there. Why is that person single? You want to tell me that person hasn't been having sex all this time with other people? What's going on there? I need to understand that. But they need a partner. But they need, like, what's going on there? And That Lilith is operating like her. It's about sexual sovereignty. And it's kind of like that, but that person doesn't operate with trauma bonding. They're not into those type of things. And this is where the person that is the sexually obsessed begins to understand that they're a part of the problem more than they're a part of the solution. And their little member is standing up saying, hey, I want to be a part of the solution. I cannot make this up. Black Moon Lilith, 21 degrees Scorpio. Now, the only way that they know how to be a part of the solution goes through certain sexual programming that very likely they have undergone and haven't transmuted. Doesn't mean that they're sexually compatible with that single person. But oh boy, is that frustrating. And it can be a person that is, and I cannot even say that the sexually obsessed person, the smug person that tries to connect them, they are undermining everyone. Because they're doing that from the perspective of trying to enslave women. But that other person, I cannot even say that they're undermining themselves because they're just going through the scorpionic crisis of reckoning. Everything would fall apart in their life if it has its Saturn maturation for some of you. Everything with, or second Saturn return, Saturn maturations, okay? Saturn return, I think this is not a Saturn return type of energy. Like Saturn 28 is just not mature enough to understand this type of things. Not sexually mature enough. And with the Saturn return, but the Saturn maturation is, for me, Saturn maturation is actually when after I went, okay, I have been really trying to manifest the intimate sexual relationship that I'm happy with and so on and so forth. And I just, okay, maybe I'm like, maybe that's the best that this thing can go. And definitely I've had both good experiences, bad experiences. Like, I'm retired. That's what I thought back then. And then it was an attempt to traffic me using another energy that was also not single. And the source, and there's sorry, it's not the source, but the sorry situation was that I would try to get to see who is that person, who is that spouse, what is going on there. Their spouse was complaining about single white women. And I'm like, the single white women could be a married white man. And I wasn't meaning their husband, I was meaning the people that use them to traffic. And I was like, how deep into that was that person that was admittedly the people that admitted they're in a personality cult, they're usually not trying to be completely malevolent. But that story was just like in the background. And from my perspective, I was just trying to live my life. Now, here's the thing for people going through their Saturn maturation, there's something about, and here it's related to Mars. It's Mars and sexual sovereignty. There's something about real estate that they have been avoiding, giving up, and so on and so forth. And now they're addressing, but there are many smug people that try to get them to. And the smug people are leaning in, they're latching on a wound. And this is a psychosexual wound that they're latching on. And it's a psychosexual programming wound that they're latching on around that person. And within the other party, okay, the eternally single party, the wound has to do with the fact that everybody and everything around seems to be in it with the Epsteins. Whether by the merit of being intergenerationally linked to the Epsteins or whatnot. Now, for the people that need to really, now here's, as a relational astrologer, for the people that need to release And that's a Uranus related thing for sure. I don't know where the Uranus stands for these people. For me, it's on my Chiron. So that is involved with housing and relationships. Um, and thus also indirectly with sexuality. I mean, if there is a Chiron around speech, of course, it's involved with sexuality. But the thing is that, how should I say that? If there are two people being juxtaposed, okay, whether they have an affair or don't have an affair or have erotic attraction or don't have, whatever that is, if there is a single, not single type of thing, it means that the spousey, man or woman, and the supposed third party, whether they are a third party or they're just living their life, okay, um, both of them are going through similar, like I've had situations where the spousey had Moon Rahu conjoining my ascendant. Basically, meaning as they are thinking to be a mom or thinking about their own housing or tending to their emotional safety and sense of happiness and joy, and inner child, because it was in their fifth house, they're becoming me. As they're going through their second part of life, which hasn't even started yet, they're becoming literally me. In some ways, it's not completely me, but in some ways they're becoming, and for that person, they wouldn't need to do a destiny swap because they're destined. Okay? They don't need to do a destiny swap with me because they're naturally becoming me. And they could have had a lot of judgment about who am I, but also a lot of curiosity. Who is this woman? Who is this woman? This woman is something about her is the future observant woman. Or who is this man? Something about this man is the future observant man. And so, if this is a third party thing, it means that both the spousey and the supposed third party going through the same thing. And as astrologer, it would usually be that way. It can even be about astrology. It can even be about finding one's own freedom, protecting one psychically. Um, and sometimes it can be that the spousey is actually holding the frequency that the supposed third party is kind of beginning to embody. And so the third party, even if they're not a third party, it would be this person that reminds them of their wife when she was young. And it would not be about the hue or the skin complexion necessarily or anything around that. It would be about, hey, that is something familiar that they fell in love with. Well, and that can actually reignite the fire between partners. In fact, for most cases, that's what it's supposed to do. Okay? And that other party would be like, okay, that's something that they learn about marriage or something that they learn about relationship or something that they are that the reason that they're single is because they're changing something in society, and once that is changed, then the door is opening for them to be not single. Now here is the deal with this particular energy reading. That thing has to do with Peter Rings, with either defending Peter Rings, being in the vicinity of, being second generation to, ritual abuse, either in the vicinity of, that happening in the real estate in the city. Um, okay? And from the eternally single person, they are they're continuously taking massive action while not really being aware to the extent of, it's like throwing a pebble into the water. And they're throwing masses of pebbles because their soul is crying out for this change in society. Plus, they deal with the problems, okay? They will need a housing. They will need um, that housing somehow connects with somebody who's a partner in life. they do have something to do with sexual sovereignty as a value, disconnected to that real estate topic, disconnected to that partner. There's something going on with the elite cloning superhuman project Aries that's right around the corner. It's right on there. Something to do with it. It can be Moon. It can be ruler of the fourth and seventh house. It can be Chiron. It can be ruler of Chiron. There's something right around the corner. And Chiron is there too, so it's coming to heal that wound. Think about all the cloning stuff with Epstein are being exposed, and the Clintons are in it. Trudy, like, I told you so. But like, I know, but I was trying to give the guy credit. He was talking about defunding. Defunding, that would be defunding the Peter rings. Now, for those of you that are the single person, almost 100% sure, you're on the path of dropping the Peter rings, dropping the cloning project. Okay. And here is the thing. The person who is the eternal single, when it comes to the goal, okay, let's say to drop the Peter ring, when they see another person on that path, it doesn't go like an immediately, you know, it doesn't go like, oh, but that person is on that goal. Why are they not wait, there are more things. There's sexual compatibility. There's being ready for a relationship. There's many other things. And this is what is even more disturbing to both the smug people around and the other people around that have been, okay, is that person, and you think, and it feels to me that around this, every such single person, there's a pack of unavailable people. They're trying to solve their own internal psychosexual issues by when is that, what is going to solve it for that single? Where is the part that complete the puzzle? You know, there's these puzzles where there's they come in twos, and every part has the other section that is compatible with it. It's like, where is that other part of that person? Um, and what's even more annoying is that a lot of these single people have not been given the vibe of the excuses of the eternally single. And all of them, now here's the thing, those single people, whether inside the cult or outside the cult, they have a reckoning. It's like that person is also being single. I know. That person is taking the time to themselves. I know you. They recognize each other, and it can be that the person has joined the singlehood club, and then they're like, blah blah blah, blah da 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 da, and then they get it. There's like, oh, the nervous system. Oh, the nervous system is the nervous system. Yeah, you gotta do what's good for. And then they begin to recognize, like, okay, I'm taking space for myself, taking space for myself. They're taking space. They're taking space. Everybody's taking space. And those eternally single people, whether inside the cult or outside the cult, they stand out, and each one of them becomes like a weird point of attraction, like a weird attractor. Now, here's the thing: for those of them outside the cult, they're a point of attraction. Remember when I talked about the golden ages and it triggered everyone? Those that are inside the cult, this is where it gets scary, because they are a strange attractor, but they have all these scandals around them that are going like, a hurricane is usually going inward. This one is going the other direction. And all these scandals are flying away from them while being scattered into the wind, being exposed, is what I'm saying. But they're being a strange attractor. Now, here's what happens to a person that joins the vortex. They have a vortex within them that might even link to deepening the spark of passion with their spousey. Because their spousey, think about it, if one person is singing, another person is writing songs, but or trying to record themselves or just trying to get confident to express their voice. If one person is being kind of like a Tracy Chapman type of person, that spousey has an inner Tracy Chapman within them, but they might be Beyonce, and and usually when something is to do with the spousey, it's also internally with the person, the people that we lived in. It's kind of like there are inner vortices that draw one another to one another. Those Abraham Hicks teachings are true, except that there's a lot of satanic death cults trying to mess with that fabric. And that exists. It's kind of like, let the economy be, let the this be, let the that be, let the what currency? I'm manifesting the currency, and then somebody has a fear of ritual abuse currency, but they're not tending to the housing thing. But the housing thing, but they're, yes, because they're clown. Well, some people born in IVF, like, that's not a problem. No, 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 no. The thing that happened, like, goggle moggle. Okay, oh, okay. Now, here is the drama. The way that those things would go about is what people have a resistance to, there is something that needs to transmute. For example, they may be in this death cult that has a resistance to, for some of them, trying to deport all the foreigners, not wanting women, definitely not black women, to be having independent business. Now they're having this white person discovering rap. And all the channelers around them that resonate are dark skinned. One of them even Ethiopian, for heaven's sake, and Israel was castrating Ethiopian women. And and that third party is kind of like, well, we have to deliver them. We have to find a way. Or one of them is, I remember when I received messages through Trudy Verstegen. It's kind of like, well, one of them is like, okay, they're only watching that exiled parliament member that talks about the children all the time. But there's this message that we really need to get across. And now, here's the thing. That little entanglement creates an erotic challenge that the person that is kind of like has given up on life Pretty much. Is busy living the life that everybody, that it's like they're busy changing the world, and the world is changing.